So if you're buying this as your first boat, I want to know what cryptocurrency you're investing in, and I want to come and work for you. In all seriousness though, this is probably not your first boat. I would suspect a boat like this is the Riviera 645 SUV. She's almost 70 feet worth of kit. She's something that's going to appeal to someone that's had a few boats, knows exactly what they want to do, looking for something incredibly luxurious, but I think also on the practical side. And there's a couple of reasons for that, or many reasons for that. So come with me, we're gonna get straight into this tour. My name's Dan Jones. You're watching Dan's Boat Life. We're in beautiful sunny Queensland, and this is a brand spanking new boat, which is yet to be delivered to her new owner. So we're gonna be doing a very detailed tour right now of this very vessel. And then after this video, we're going for a sea trial. So we're gonna do some speed trials inshore, then we're gonna take her in the ocean, and you're very welcome to join us. So we'll cover this part of the boat first, and then we'll make our way inside, then we'll get back to the bow, and then we'll go downstairs and we're gonna finish up in the engine bay. The SUV range, well, this is the flagship of the SUV range, and you can have it in two different stylings, I guess you'd call it. This is the classic styling, where there's a couple of differences. One being we've actually got a live bait well in here, as opposed to a little luxury lounge seating, and there are some more differences as we make our way through, and I'll explain that. And the other version is called the Newport. I think they're referring to Newport, Rhode Island in America, perhaps not Newport in the northern beaches of Sydney. I know the English have been copying quite a few of our place names as well, but we love them too, so it's okay. So those few little styling differences are available inside, but there's also a 2 or a 3 cabin layout if you choose, and you can choose to have an equipment workroom after the owner's master stateroom, or a crew cabin, and we're going to check that out as well. So the SUV range, it appeals to, in my opinion, it appeals to serious, active water sports people. So people who like a bit of fishing, people who maybe like to do a bit of water toys, activities, sailing off the back of your boat, and those of you who want to entertain on a nice big traditional aft cockpit like this. So this gives you a lot of flexibility, and then the hull style, it favors the offshore. All Rivieras do, but I think the SUV particularly, it's a nice offshore hull. It's got a low center of gravity. It's an easy boat to make your way through because you're not going up and down ladders. So many benefits for those of you who want to possibly the biggest boat that you can manage by yourself if you know what you're doing, and you can definitely manage this short-handed, but you can also crew it. So quite a bit going on. So let's just start here and we'll point out everything we see. So we've actually got quite a large fridge and then a freezer on this side, and we've got storage forward. There's storage everywhere, and I could probably open most of these lockers because this boat hasn't been kitted out yet. We've got 2 wing stations. We're running twin V8 mans, and they're on a V-drive shaft. We've got 2 gensets, a big one and a night genset as well. And so essentially the joystick, you're operating shafts and variable speed hydraulic thrusters. It's one of the easiest big boats to drive in a marina that I've ever experienced. You can see that in the next video. Hang your fenders off here, rod holders here, rope storage in here. You can also do raw and freshwater deck washdown just in there, and that's shore power cable as you saw, and you can do deck wash. That's a high pressure deck wash. This is your platform operation. That's your manual bilge pump. The platform will actually raise up a little bit if you wish. So if you're in some big seas and you just want to get it away from the ocean, you can, and obviously can drop it down to deploy your tenders. These stainless steel rails, these 2 here, will actually drop in quite easily and enclose and protect this whole area. So with the 2 opening doors on either side, you can increase your space, but also at the marina, if you've got a tender on this platform and you've got a port finger or a starboard finger, you can still get on board and enter without having to jump over the side or make your way around the tender. So that all kind of makes sense. In closing these doors, they actually just swing. Oh, hey, check out the baby blue. How cool is this? This owner has got nice style. I really like the color on this boat, but that's how you close it. Same again on the other side, and then everything's well protected. Huge big scuppers, which you can actually hear because the gyro cooling is actually exiting this port scupper right now. But if you did take a big wave, that's one of the scuppers that's going to send the water straight out and overboard. Come and have a look at the fairing just here. Beautiful big cleat. Put a big line on that, and look how beautifully that's been done. Typical Riviera stuff. Just tuck in here. There's some line storage as well. We've got more options around the place. That's a little bit deeper. Same again. You're not struggling. Underneath this hatch just here, we've got access into the engine room. We've actually got a deep locker for storage here, and we have another locker for storage underneath here. We've got a decent amount of storage tucked in here. You can see my bag, and that actually goes in to this side. And then if you close this side first, that makes in quite nicely. And then you got the Barbie. 2 plates on this one, flat plate. The grated one just here, that's operated off the genset. We've got the hot plate, we've got the down lights, we've got the safety just here if you close it and it's still hot or still on. A couple of drink holders. It's on the Corian, and just make sure you remember to push that down before you close it, and hot and cold. But it's all beautiful, solid. More storage tucked in behind here, and optional second wing station just here on starboard. So you can see, if you look forward, you've actually got pretty good sight lines. And because we have this large flared bow, but it tapers back aft, when you're standing, and I noticed this because I'm not a tall guy, when you're standing at the dock or you're operating around the dock and you're trying to reach fenders, you can still reach on this boat. So even from these midships aft and the midships forward cleats, you can reach them from the dock. You can definitely reach the aft. And so if you were coming in and operating the boat with the joystick just here, you can get a line on, you can get a springer, you can get a stern line, and you can still control your bow with plenty of time to even go forward and drop a bow line should you need. So come forward up through these stairs. We've got a bit of an alfresco dining area in here. So this is a next level. If you've seen some of the other SUVs on my channel before, we've got an immense amount of space in here. We've got this huge, big, beautifully polished timber table, which is heavy. There's probably 12 coats of varnish on that. And then you've got drink holders, wine, champagne bucket holder, grab hold just here, and space for the whole family around here, because you've got that pull-out seat just there, or the little chair for someone to sit on this side. And then on the port side, this will flip over and double in size and turn into a beautiful daybed. And this area is climate controlled. We've actually got air conditioning vents. Oh, there they are. You can see one just tucked in up there on both sides. We've also got natural ventilation through a very large overhead electrically opening skylight just there. And as you can see, we've got a drop down TV in here, so everyone on this side can watch the cricket if they need. And then, oh, it's strong. That just closes like so. And then you've got underneath here, you've actually got the ice maker, and then an external esky bin, I guess, because it's drained. This looks like it could be a bin, but also an esky, and that's on the Corian. Nicely done. Underneath our feet just here is access into the engine room. We're going to go there later because you have another access into the engine bay because you've got a crew space, and that's probably the most logical entry. This flips up. It's all manual on gas struts, super strong, stainless steel. We've got blinds that pull down, and the doors, they've got multiple opening positions. So boom, 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 you just kind of lock it so you can crack it open or go all the way. And then you've got the pull down privacy blinds if you need. Come inside because it's super nice. It's super nice. So we'll actually just cover half of this for now because I want to take you out the port side door. But down the center line, if you're in a seaway, we do have a Seakeeper gyro, low center of gravity. This thing is pretty comfortable in a seaway, but you've got somewhere to hold on here. You also have somewhere nice, solid Corian island to brace yourself in the middle of the boat. But if you see these two hatches or little switches, whatever you want to call them here, you could drop these down. It's technically access inside to some of your systems up in the ceiling, but it's also storage on starboard and port. You could fit surfboards in there, you could fit fishing rods in there. So potentially multiple uses. The L-shaped lounge, super comfy. You can't fault Riv for all this upholstery and all the cushion matching. They do a really good job. You choose whatever you want. They actually have an experience center where you go and style the boat to your sort of liking. But underneath me is a hidden fold-out saloon table. So you just got to remove these back cushions and then the whole thing will hinge out and you can use it as a dining table. But this footrest is also has this movable thingamajig, and that doubles as a serving tray as well when you need it. And you put your games, all your Monopoly games, straight underneath in here, because that's deep enough for all the board games, card games, and what have you. And I like how they have set in the big flat screen TV flush with the timber, and then underneath the Corian here. It's been well done. It's nice how they've even carried the Corian over. It just kind of completes the whole thing a little bit more. But we'll cover this galley because there's heaps going on. Air conditioning all the way around. So we've got climate controlled Alfresco area. And you may or may not have noticed on the smaller SUVs, they've got this styling piece which has got a textured material. But on this one, you look straight through the windows on either side. So your picture out here, whether it's the middle of summer or the middle of winter, you can control this climate and you've got a really nice view. So I think that's super cool. But then when you are inside here, if you're starting your day and you need to operate the boat, it's all done from the C zone. It's super simple, cruising, dock unattended, entertainment, sleep, and service. So it literally just turns all the switches on and off for you. And then you can do things just like turning on the generator. So once you leave shore power from the marina and unplug, you can fire up the genset. It'll automatically switch over from shore power to ship's power. So it takes a lot of the confusion out of it. This particular boat's got a water maker, but we've got, I think that's a 3-burner electric cooktop. Don't hold me to it, SMEG. And then we've got a SMEG thing here. Maybe it's a microwave, maybe it's a stove. Again, don't hold me to that. But we've got a lot of refrigeration. So 1, 2, storage underneath here. One of these is a dishwasher, another fridge. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 fridges. There's more because this one has a cocktail bar up forward. And this one is the dishwasher, okay? So storage, fridge, storage, fridge. And then if you look down the center line, all of this is storage with rubbish and recycling in here. So you are not struggling. You could set up for quite the party on this boat because you've got all this workbench area here. I like having the fiddle just there. So essentially nothing's going to slide and fall into the middle of the boat there. And then you've got prep space. You've got the twin sinks with the choppy thingy that you put, I can't remember the name of those. Just jump in the comments and remind me, I've forgotten. The food choppy thingy. And then you've got a cutting board. When you flip that over, I've seen that on a few of the rivs, so that's just a sensible design space. Does this? Oh, it does. There you go. So you don't have to use the dishwasher. You can give it a little light wash and then probably sort yourself out when you need. You've got an extractor fan above. You know, it might be a little bit small. Like some of my Asian friends are probably going to maybe need a little bit. Or then again, you've got a lot of airflow from that door to there. Possibly not an issue. So we have all of our glasswares and regular coffee cups on this side, but the fancy stuff is forward and separated from the galley. So your day-to-day use, that's just storage, is here. But then your bougie stuff is actually underneath here. That's quite heavy. It's on gas struts. Look how fancy that is. How cool. But this is not it. There's more, and I'm actually going to keep you waiting because I want to take you to the bow and show you up the front of the boat first. More storage, and see you got a little footrest. It's neatly just slides whoop, straight out of here. I love how they do clever things like that. I even saw placeholders for these sink covers, and they just slide away, and they have a place to go. We've got 12 volt and 240 or 110, depending on where you're taking delivery, dotted all the way around the boat. So every single one of these power outlets, it's got the USB-A and USB-C, so you get more power out of that one. So that's kind of handy. We've been using that all day. More storage down the port side here, and let's go straight out this door. It's a manual door, just one of those ones that you operate like that. We go forward up one step. Super safe decks on this boat. Obviously it's a big boat, it's a heavy boat, so it doesn't rock around very much, but you've got a lot of space here, and people of any size are going to feel comfortable to kind of put their hands there and there if they need something to hold on to. Just pay attention to how big these windows are. So you're not like restricted to only enjoying air conditioning or heating, depending on what country you're in. You can get nice natural airflow through the boat. We've got the big opening sunroof, so that's all possible. But just check out this foredeck. How nice is this? So this is the classic version. If you get the Newport, this is slightly different. It's like a lounge and then a fancy little sunbaking or sunbathing, as you Northern Hemisphere people refer to it as, area in the center line. But I would suggest for the Southern Hemisphere, this is probably going to a little bit more popular, and it's quite social because we don't really want to lie down in the sun all day because it would give us skin cancer. So that's a lock, and then this is fender storage just here. We have same again on the other side, but a slightly different size. We have more storage in here, probably good for covers because we have one cover and then an L-shaped cover that goes over that seat. You don't need to take these cushions off the boat at the end of the day. You would just cover them up. And then we have navigation lights, courtesy lights. These bases here are actually for some carbon fiber poles. They're stored down in the engine bay, and then you can, by attaching a mesh sailcloth, bathe this whole bow area in shade, so you can still utilize it in the middle of the day. And you can see how this Aussie owner has just teaked the center line, and he's also teaked the transom or the back of the boat, but he hasn't done the whole decks. Much more practical for someone who's going to use their boat, particularly here in the Southern Hemisphere. So, okay, let's have a look at the anchor setup. Note that we've got gas struts, so that's not going to fall down on your feet. That's a safety thing, and that's good. You're going to get a lot of fenders in here. So if you are looking at keeping one of these boats in Europe and you're going to do the med mooring, you're going to put your extra fenders there, because if you're just mooring in America or Australia, you probably have enough fender storage down the back of the boat and in these lockers here, so not necessary or totally necessary. We've got fresh and raw water washdown. We've also have the pressure water, and we can operate the anchor windlass just here. It's a Muir anchor windlass, so we can see you can do chain and rope, and nice big, a good amount of clearance. So you really don't need to worry about anchoring these boats. Even if you were in a little bit of swell or movement, the anchor's not going to swing and hit the bow, but you also have a camera from the helm. So provided you've taken the safety off, which you can do, you can actually, if you're solo operating the boat, you can just activate position hold, so the boat through the shafts and the variable speed thrusters will hold that position. You can make your way through the port door, slowly come up here, undo the safety, and then go back to the primary helm and operate the anchor windlass without worrying or without involving any of your mates in the process. So that's kind of handy. I anchored the boat myself today. You can see everything from that helm. It is very useful. Okay, so also pay attention if you were hosing any dirt off this chain, it's all going to make its way, all the mud is going to make its way that way and not onto your teak because of this dam just here, which is a sensible idea. And get in, have a close look. I like, you know, if you see my Riviera videos before, you'll see I point this out all the time. You just don't see this on every boat. Come and have a look at this join here. See how there's no funny bubbles or weirdness. It's all very smooth. And look how smooth all of this is. When you see this, instead of seeing all these little bubbles and sort of like uneven surfaces, it means they've just sanded the hell out of it for ages, and so it's going to last longer. So you're not going to get salt water in the little cracks, which will encourage corrosion, because even though it's stainless, it's still going to corrode. So these are your bow cleats, and then you've got your forward midships cleats and your aft midships cleats, but you've also got those cleats. So we've got a lot of options. We've got those cleats through the fairleads, these cleats, and then forward midships, aft midships, still reachable depending on how tall you are from most marina docks. Now this one here is actually a little bit longer because you don't have the walk-through. See how you got the walk-through on port? Makes sense because you've got the port door, come forward, enter that way, and then you've got the nice lounge to complement it on starboard. So that's what's going on there. Triple windscreen wipers, all stainless steel, all with freshwater wash, and you can operate them from the Helm. Very, very easy. They're on their own individual buttons. You're not searching through a flat screen to try and operate it. Big window. This is the bar we're going to have a look at in a second. I counted and it's between 25 and 30 paces from the bow to the transom of this boat. It's quite a walk. So you don't actually need to go to the beach for a walk. You just walk around the boat a few times. So straight up here on the starboard side, if you went for the Newport, this would be a cute little loungy area. But on the Classic, and I don't know whether you can individually choose these options, so check with your dealer in case I'm getting confused. But this particular boat, this is basically a cocktail prep station. So we've got a little sink here. This has got its own slot to slide in this little drawer. Oh, it's down here. I think it is. Oh, that's the bin, and it's got a slot in there. That's what it was. I've got two more fridges, Vera Frigo. 1, 2. I think one of them might even be a freezer as well. And then I've got fancy glasses just in here. Look how nicely that's been done. Isn't that beautiful? Air conditioning just below that. And then underneath here, it opens like so, and then you can put all your booze bottles just in here and have them on display. It's quite impressive. And then you've got a little bit of Corian workspace here and again here, and it's handy having the sink, so that's great. Now, let's check out the Helm. Where do we start? Well, first thing, the skipper is going to be in this seat, and you're on the center line. So your visibility is really good. We actually have, all of these seats have electric operation, but this one will go up, down, forward, back, and then you can do seat recliner. Notice that I've got the armrests, and so depending on your body type, you can just lower the seat to match the footrest just there, and also to hold onto the wheel, but you have everything you need. So I've got those windscreen wiper operations just within easy reach of my throttle hand on the left side. I've got the Garmin touchpad for the touch screen, so I can reach forward and operate them using the touch screen. I can also use the control just here. Got my Garmin display here, your Humphrey interceptors just there, searchlight. This is the joystick, so this is how we can drive it like a joystick if you're used to an IPS boat, but it's actually through shaft. And because of the twin disc, when you activate forward, because we do have two great big 5-blade props with moving a lot of water, because of the twin disc, they gently engage and gently move the boat forward. So you're not going to get that lurching because it will idle forward at 7 knots. But in the marina, when you're using this, it doesn't do that. You can be super fine touch. It's actually, even though it's such a big boat, one of the easiest boats to operate because of its size and this system. So it's really great. All your boat systems, so your lighting, horn, bilge pumps, etc., are all operated just behind the wheel here. Wheel is adjustable. We've got the engine operation and display here, a second C zone just there. That's to do with the gearboxes, quick shift. This is your anchor windlass operation, engine diagnostics displays just there. We've got the triple big screen Garmin flat screen displays. The whole dash is stitched in a matte leather so it doesn't reflect back in your face. We've got a good amount of overhang from the roof, which also stops the midday sun from getting too much heat load into this boat. And you'll also note, you know, I'm not a tall guy, but there's a lot of headroom and a lot of space here at the helm. So if you are a big guy, this whole boat is actually going to be fine for you because there's a ton of headroom. And also when you're at the helm, because of the design of the sunroof, you see you got another, like, you got that much extra space at the helm. So if you're a really big bloke, you're going to have no problems whatsoever. Air conditioning at the helm from 2 places, also blowing sort of in between your legs, very pleasant in hot countries. And then navigator and guest can set themselves up in these 2 seats and really enjoy the ride. So we've got forward and aft movement on these electric seats. They both have armrests and they've got back control, but they don't have the up and down. Underneath this one, we actually have a wine cooler in case you just need to grab a wine underway. And then we also have some storage underneath the seat for charts, maybe some EPIRBs and electronics can go well under there. And I think these areas are good for throwing phones because we also have charging there and there. So you could actually put multiple devices on charge and keep them within easy reach if you're in a seaway and bouncing around. We've got our Fusion just there. That's our Seakeeper gyro. This is the air conditioning control. And we've got air conditioning vents everywhere on this boat. We actually also have some AC strips essentially going around the whole top side. And where else did I see? They're basically everywhere. This one just here, and there was some more. I'm trying to remember. Tucked in here as well. That's right. So I mentioned the storage behind those seats just there, and the dash you can maneuver or open the dash if you need to get behind it to do some service work. And the skipper's chair has also got a little footrest, which I may or may not have pointed out before. Super comfortable on long passages. These vents here are for demisting the windscreen if you're in those conditions. Speakers galore, by the way. This boat's got an epic sound system. We've actually got some hidden in the roof here. Even up forward on that sun lounge in the bow, there was speakers underneath the seat. There's like 4 speakers, but everywhere, the entertainment on this boat is top class. Come down. There's plastic on a lot of the carpets because she's a brand spanking new boat, but this piece of carpet, which I'm walking on without plastic, is very nice. So we're going forward into the VIP, and then we're going to go back through the guest accommodation, and I'll talk to you about the different layout options. But we've got the, I guess you'd call this the high gloss finish. I think you can do a satin as well. 3 of these on port and starboard, and a decent amount of storage. That's timber lined. Underneath this island bed, it actually hinges up. So you just go up on a couple of gas struts and you've got storage on the center line in the middle for luggage. So that's going to be perfect if you fly to the boat. However, you can also, by manipulating 2 hooks inside these drawers, we've got 4 drawers underneath the bed, so good for bedding and towels and that sort of stuff. This whole unit will slide forward and give you direct access to the bow thruster for servicing. So that's it's good. Everything is accessible on the Riviera. They always think about servicing in advance. So we've got a nice hanging locker. I'll see if I can show you on this side. Same again on port, but we also have a little TV unit with a flat screen TV. You can see the light comes on. You've got your Fusion control, a place to put phones and remote controls. Not sure if that's speaker or not. Anyway, looks cool. So this particular cabin has got its own head and shower. Nice vanity, high gloss, nicely done. And then you actually access the day head just aft and to port. So as soon as you come out of that cabin, you've got your own AC and light controls there. This is the day head, but it's actually also the private access to the guest cabin. So if you come through the day head, and you can see the separate shower, it's typical Riv quality. You're on the Corian, beautiful gloss, heaps of storage. These mirrors actually open up with storage inside. But come in here, because this cabin you can manipulate in a couple of ways, because you've got the 2 singles here, and this single will actually slide across to create a double. And then you've got the bedside table just in the middle here, but there's another bedside table on the center line. So when you slide that across, you still actually have access to one. We've even got our own flat screen TV tucked in the corner there with some speakers, a couple little fold up cupboards here, there and there, and nice soft textures all the way around. They build these boats with sound deadening in mind. So they put a lot of materials into these textured walls, which will soak up the sound. So you actually do notice that when you're on board a Riv, and you also notice it when you're bashing through the waves, but you can check that in the next video. Got a hanging locker just here. Now, if you went, oh, also a little thing, they do this on a lot of the Rivs. So all these doors, so when you open, there's a stopper here and a magnetic stopper here, so you never have to worry about damaging any of the woodwork, which is not the case on a lot of boats that I test. And this one here, they've done it flush with the wall. So when you open the door like that, they've designed this wall in such a way that it's flush and out of the way. It's just a little bit of extra detail, which I love to see. So this is optional. This is a cute little kiddie single, two single beds is what I'm trying to say, but it can be a lounge. So if you go for the Newport, I believe that's how it works. This can be a little L-shaped lounge, I guess, hangout officey area. But at the moment, we've got a bit of storage here, and then we've got two singles. The bottom single's probably the nicer one because you've got the window, and then the top bed, you've got these little stairs just here. You do have air conditioning. We have one opening port on the lower berth. And then we come down these two stairs into the master. We've got opening drawers here and here. They just haven't wasted any space on this boat. There's heaps of options for storing. Nice big stand-up mirror. So you come through this door, and this is the master. How nice is this? I like this little touch here with the timber wrapping around over the bed. Kind of wraps the bed a little bit. It's very nice. It's quite pleasant. So a couple of downlights, high gloss timber, enough headroom, I would say, and the windows. You just can't miss the windows. You're really enjoying this space from a views perspective, and you've got this cute little. Well, Dean and I were discussing that this is for girls, but it doesn't have a mirror here, so maybe it's not for girls. Maybe it's just for like storing things. I don't know. Jump in the comments if you know more than me. Anyway, you've got a blind that pops down here. You've got a opening port. All of the ports on every Riviera are alarmed, so they will let you know if you have a little whoopsie and start driving with a port open, so you don't fill the boat with water. But you've got drawers underneath both of these beds. You've got a bedside table. You've got multiple charging points, 240 and 12 volt. We also have storage underneath this bed, don't we? I think it's accessed. Yeah, it is from the middle. So on either side, we have gas struts, which will lift up into this under bed storage area, which is perfect for, once again, luggage if you're flying to your boat. But this is your main storage for all your clothes. And then you've got hanging locker here, big one with a safe, and another one just there. Does anyone know what these new lithium fire extinguishers are for, and how different are they to the old ones? I have no idea. We were talking about that before. If you know, could you please jump in the comments and educate us, because we don't know. So more storage up the top here, couple of charging points forward, and then this is probably leather. It's quite nice, so things are not going to slide around. I think that's a portable C-zone, so you can also take it around the boat and do some of your operations. But here, as we move aft, is where some of the changes or the options are going to exist for you. So we've got a decent amount of storage in the master head and shower. It is a bigger shower than the other ones. I'll just step in there for perspective. So you've got your own little seat here, heaps of space. You've got the rain head shower and the movable one here. I've got some ventilation and I think, is there an AC outlet just there? So it's air conditioned and it's a complete wet area. We've got two large towel racks just there and a hand towel rack, 3 drawers, a big cupboard, nice vanity, opening port for natural ventilation. So you are totally sorted, and this whole area is drained because you've got 2 drains, one there and another one there. And is that a heated towel rack? I don't know. Yeah, jump in the comments if you know. I think it is. Okay, fancy. But this is the crew space, and you don't have to have it optioned like this. You can option a workbench area. So we've got washer, dryer, storage, crew bed, and then storage with a little TV just there. And in here, all the switch panels, boom, boom, air conditioning outlet above that, and then the crew head with shower. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay, so it's got an overhead rain shower, and you've got the curtain to keep the door from getting wet. So it's a wet room, but you've got enough to operate storage behind here and behind there. And by the way, you do have access into the bilge all the way forward. There's panels everywhere, but obviously on this boat, it's underneath the carpet. And then through this door, as I said before, I think this is the primary access into the engine bay. But what we're going to do, I think I'm going to shut the genset down, open all the hatches just to cool it down for a sec, and then we'll go for a tour. So when you open these overhead hatches here and here, it immediately evacuates all the hot air, so it's quite pleasant now. But come on in, or come in as much as you can see. We've got twin V8 mans. You can option the V12s if you wish, and they're a V-drive shaft, so that allows us to get essentially, more bigger engines in the limited space. Otherwise, we'd have to have engines forward, and we would lose some of that accommodation if we had to have a straight shaft. So that's what's going on there. But easy walk around, basically full stand-up headroom for me. We've got this ladder here. This hatch is accessible externally, not on the inside, so just pay attention to that. On the centerline aft, we've got the Seakeeper gyro, and then we have 2 water tanks on either side of that. And then we've actually got a water maker on the starboard side on this particular boat. And then we have aft on the port side, we've got actually the deck wash, that's the pressure deck wash, wiring loom above that. And then we've got the raw water in for the refrigeration, I believe. But what we will do is go forward. Our extractor fans in the normal places up on either side. This is the primary genset on starboard forward. The night genset is port. Refrigeration and cooling is on their own racks above that. You can see typical Riv stuff. Everything is labelled. It's all clearly labelled. We've got sight gauges for the fuel tanks. If you look, you may see those big bolts. They've all been done with a torsion wrench, and you can see they've been lined up properly. Access to your fuel filters is possible, and even doing a oil change. So see this genset oil, can you see that? And then just on these two, okay, so I've got gearbox and engine oil that you just plug in the pump and then just pump. You can do the oil changes yourself, so you can actually just pump out the oil into a 20-gallon drum or whatever, 20-litre drum, and you can do the oil change yourself. So, and filters here, and you can see you can do a switch over, and that's the box for your hydraulics for your thrusters, just there. So yeah, it's all quite manageable, and I just love having these deck hatches that you can open because it immediately vents the hot air out and then gives us the ability to exit in and out of the engine bay via this hatch here. And we've also got, in terms of the design, actually I'll just show you, these deck hatches, or panels I should say, have been designed to be removed for major servicing, so you can get the gyro out without cutting up all the teak. It's been designed into the boat for removal when necessary, which is great. We're wrapping the video up on the bow, guys, so let's walk the 20 odd steps to the front. I hope that was useful. I hope you got some value out of it, and if you're interested in this boat and you want to see how she performs, that's the next video. I'll be linking to that on the screen any minute, but I just want to do a bit of a closing wrap for you and see where we kind of want to place this boat in the market, and hopefully you can use this information to decide whether it's something you want to inspect or book a meeting with the dealer, because that's literally why I make these videos. Who do I think is best suited to this boat? Who's going to get the most value out of it? I suspect some of you who've obviously done a lot of boating and you want something with a lower center of gravity. So maybe you've been through 4 or 5 boats before, and you've had a few fly bridges, and maybe you don't want to go up and down the stairs so much, or maybe you are doing lots of offshore runs and you just like the lower center of gravity. So that's just something to think about. The extra flare of the bow on these SUVs, as opposed to many sports yachts or sports style yachts, is going to make her a friendlier boat offshore. And also for those of you who are literally looking for the biggest bloody boat you could drive yourself. So, like, it's pretty enjoyable. It's a thoroughly pleasant boat to drive around the marina, this one. That system with the twin disc gearboxes is great. So if you just want to boss the parking yourself every time and use minimal assistance, and that's a thing, you don't always want to be running around with crew on board, you can do that. Obviously, she's very happy to run as a crewed boat too. We've had crew quarters, but it is just a thing. So some of the pros and cons. Pros, I think this is a bloody good looking boat. Obviously it's a personal choice, but this is a very handsome looking thing from every angle. So obviously that's important to a lot of people. The flared bow, I think that's great. The crew cabin, depending on where you're looking at this video from around the world, I know I live in Thailand, and crewing boats is important. So having the option to run this as a fully crewed boat is going to be of great benefit to some of you. And also shaft drives. There's still a great deal of appreciation out there in the market for just good old shafts. I think some of those negatives that we used to have with shafts that just engaged gear and just sent the boat lurching forward at 7 knots, and you have a few heart racing moments around the marina, well then that's been catered to with this twin disc. So that's an absolute positive. Cons, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. You got to be doing pretty well to afford one of these. So that's a con. It's not everyone's going to be able to afford one of these. It's a big boat. It's a lot of money. They have still sold and built quite a few of these. So there's clearly people doing well, and good luck to you. I want to be like you one day. So, but you're not going to have the biggest resale market when you come to sell this. You maybe might eat up a little bit of cash on your resale at the end of the line. I don't know that for a fact. I would talk to your dealer and confirm those numbers, because I haven't sold any of these on the used market, so I'm really only just guessing. But do your homework. I think that's important. It's not like buying a 505 SUV, which is going to have a really wide potential market, in my opinion, because just more people can afford one of those. This is a very luxury boat. Maybe it's different in America, because there's a lot of boats running around of this size in America. I'm not so sure about that engine access hatch having only access from the top side. If you had a girl engineer and she had to get out in a rush and the only other door was not accessible for some reason, that just seems questionable to me, but not the end of the world. Could be resolved very easily if you're running an engineer on the boat. I can't really fault the boat other than that. I'm not particularly looking for faults, so I'm not trying to. If you own one of these and you've got some constructive feedback, feel free to jump in the comments. That's why we do this on this channel. I only get maybe maximum up to 12 hours on board in some of these tests, so surely there's going to be things that I haven't noticed that some of you who own a boat will find, and feel free to communicate, because that's why this channel exists. But overall, once again, this is one of the best boats in her category that you could find, built by, in my opinion, one of the best builders in the world. So how does she perform? She's very nice and fast and enjoyable to drive, and she drives essentially, she feels manageable like a smaller boat would. She it's a 70-foot worth of boat, but you feel like you could step straight from a 55-footer into this and you wouldn't have an issue. And if you want to see that for yourself, it's the next video coming up on the screen right now. Don't forget to subscribe, because it's your subscriptions, guys, that help me get access and opens doors with all of these factories to make more of these videos for you. So if you found this useful before you went into the boat show or went to the dealer, just do us a favor, subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Love you lots. See you in the next video.